Hey, what's up you guys? Bloody Jacob here to bring you my weekly review of AMC's The Walking Dead. This week we've seen Season 6, Episode 11, which is called Untie. And yeah, so overall pretty good episode. Definitely wasn't mind-blowing, or it's probably literally going to be in the season finale like we're all expecting, but nothing like earth-shattering in this episode or anything, but we got a lot of great setup for what's to come with Negan eventually. They're actually moving along a little bit faster than I expected them to. I mean, I know we're all expecting Negan to show up by the finale, but still, to see the Hilltop in this episode and to meet Gregory, it feels like it's moving on at a pretty nice pace right now. But at the same time, it has me wondering, like, with the setup or the idea that the group's going to try and go after Negan soon, how are they going to stretch out his first appearance until episode 16? I don't know. Anyway, we'll see what they do with it. Of course, took notes on it. There you go. All right. We had a little bit of Abraham concentration in this episode too. He has another little side thing going on. Of course, him and Sasha have been sort of connecting a little bit, and him and Rosita have been a thing since before we met them, pretty much. But we don't really know how serious that relationship ever was, except obviously he still feels bad that he's having other feelings. But I did hear in the comics Abraham does sort of get caught in a little triangle like this, so it kind of makes sense. I don't really care about Sasha though. Abraham's a likable dude, but Sasha, we get to see Jesus telling about his group at the Hilltop. He doesn't say the Hilltop yet, but he says how they're a lot like them and how he didn't really think he could trust the group at first, and how he's seen what they have and the type of things they value. He's willing to show them and see what they can do. Of course, when everyone comes off, they see Rick without his shirt on, and obviously seeing that him and Michonne were in the same room. So Rick, kind of explains it to Carl, and, Carl sort of gives him a look, and he says he and Michonne are different. I'm not sure if he was referring to, like, his connection with Jesse or not, but I do think him and Michonne's relationship's on a more stable level than theirs ever could have been. We had kind of a funny scene of Abraham asking Glenn about how when he poured the Bisquick, basically was he planning on it? Glenn said they had always talked about it and they kind of want to build something out of this. Got a cute little moment of Rick and Michonne sort of holding hands as they're driving along in the truck or RV. Of course, as Jesus is showing them the way, apparently some of Jesus' people actually had an accident, and of course the group, everything that we've been through, they think it's a setup, and so Jesus is handcuffed, and so they go in to investigate. They do help Jesus' people, kill a few walkers along the way. Abraham almost kills one of Jesus' guys, but that's basically because he lumbered out all injured and stuff. They eventually do arrive at the Hilltop, which I was actually kind of surprised by. Let me see, it has similar walls to what Alexandria has, although probably not the exact same material, but a similar idea. And it was really cool to meet Gregory in this episode. Not that the character is likable, but I do know the actor, Xander Berkeley. I've seen him on plenty of shows now. And of course, I know him. He was Liam on season 3 of Being Human. He's Percy on Nikita. He's on Salem, which is a show my girlfriend had me watch. And he's done plenty of other projects, plenty of other movies and shows too. And he definitely fits into this role. We'll talk more about him in a second. Maggie is actually the one negotiating with Gregory, and I know Maggie sort of becomes like one of the other leaders besides Rick in the comics, so this kind of makes sense. And also the way she was like talking to Deanna when she was still alive, it sort of fits here. Gregory's sort of trying to bend them to his will, like saying, oh, if you guys work, I'll give you this and that. And he's basically like, he has a lot of ego, he has a lot of pride and things like that. He's really stubborn. And he also sort of hits on Maggie, starts calling her honey and things like that, and yeah, it's just kind of an eye roll type thing. But even when Xander Berkeley acts like this, he's kind of funny, I'll admit. Let's see. They come up with this idea that... Oh wait, hold on. First, this guy arrives back at the Hilltop and he actually stabs Negan because there was a message sent to him by Negan. And basically, you know, we find out more about this group called the Saviors, which Negan runs, and basically he's been holding the Hilltop under his thumb since it really started, or pretty close anyway. And basically they protect them if they give them supplies, and they just don't kill them. Or, I mean, the Saviors don't kill the Hilltop in exchange for that. So it's basically by force, and as Jesus explains, and as we see, they don't have a lot of capable fighters besides Jesus himself. This was a pretty violent scene, you know. Rick and Abraham are fighting off a couple of guys. Rick has a knife held to his throat, but he actually, you know, stabs the guy through the neck. Tons of blood pours out on his face. I like when Rick gets up and everyone's looking at him and he just says, "What?" Because the group's so used to these types of things going on, and obviously the Hilltop's sort of a little bit more shielded, sort of like Alexandria was, just maybe not to that same extent, but they probably haven't seen quite as much of that as our group anyway. And there's this girl who's upset that Rick killed the guy, even though he was trying to kill him, but she obviously still had a connection to him, and sort of like, you know, probably had a personal relations and stuff like that. She slaps Rick, and then Michonne just knocks the girl on her ass. Knocks the girl to the ground, which I thought was pretty funny. Of course, defending her man. You know, so I still like the idea of Rick and Michonne together. It just feels really right. I love it. Let's see. And Rosita also had made a necklace for Abraham earlier, and this is actually broken, and Abraham didn't really seem to care. It seemed like he just decided, okay, I'm going to move on and take what I want, which is probably Sasha. So there's that. Let's see what else. Yeah, Jesus telling him about Negan and the Saviors. We hear a story about how Negan actually beat a kid to death. He was only about 16 years old. Just beat him in front of him, pretty much when they met him. And so Negan, he likes to send a lot of his people that communicate his messages and stuff, but he gets off his ass too, and he really does some serious shit, you know. He sounds like a pretty bad dude, and I'm just really hyped to see him. I think Jeffrey Dean Morgan's probably gonna nail the role. I'm really looking forward to meeting him, but also dreading it, because we're all expecting a big death. We end up getting this deal that, you know, our group's gonna get supplies, and, you know, they're gonna kind of trade, but the idea is that they're actually gonna, you know, find this guy who was captured by Negan and his men, and they're actually gonna get him back and kill Negan in the process. That's probably not gonna work out as smoothly as they want, but I didn't really think they'd go about it this way. I didn't really think the story was gonna try and put it in this direction, so I'm kind of intrigued. And again, it makes me wonder how they're gonna stretch out Negan's first appearance to the finale. I mean, maybe we'll see him sooner. Although I'm not sure, because they want that initial big death impact in the finale. I don't know. We'll see how they do it. I'm pretty sure Morgan wasn't casted until around the finale. Not sure. But it's going to be interesting to see how they fill out the rest of the episodes to lead up to that. Gregory agrees to all this eventually. Let's see. Maggie wants half of everything up front, and that actually occurs. You know, Maggie's showing that she can actually be a capable negotiator and leader and stuff like that herself, which, you know, is pretty impressive. Maggie and Glenn are also able to see, you know, the baby, and that was really touching. I like when Maggie passed the photo around in the truck. You know, Daryl got to see it, which is pretty nice. Abraham too. So yeah, those are my overall thoughts on the episode. Pretty short review, but, you know, not a whole lot really happened besides who we met, and I do think Gregory is going to be like a good, sort of minor antagonist. He's definitely not going to be on Negan's level, and I like how much of an attitude or arrogance Gregory has, where he's basically just been owned by Negan throughout the whole apocalypse, so it's kind of ironic. But yeah, those are my thoughts. Again, not a whole lot to talk about. I did like the episode, though. I think it has some really good build-up for the whole Negan story coming up. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it too. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, MoviePilot, and look for InSpoiledDead.com. I'll catch you guys next time, and peace. And anything you do want to talk about that I didn't mention, feel free to leave a comment below.